everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Duality podcast. In today's episode, we will discuss the main difference between a dream and a goal. Why knowing that difference is going to help you take your life to the next level, and you will actually be able to put your mind through what you want to achieve. Because a lot of people in today's society, we are all in a state of dreaming. We are all looking through social media or through other people's achievement, and we're all dreaming. But why do you actually need to stop dreaming and start putting them into actionable steps that becomes goal? You need to stop dreaming and start achieving. That's what we're going to discuss in today's episode.
Absolutely, man. And for a starter, I would like to bring up a quick story, right?
Yeah.
Just like the last podcast. I was working during the last week on my businesses, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about analogy that I could bring up to this specific podcast. And what I thought about is creating is more than dreaming.
Yeah.
Creating is achieving.
Yeah.
And to me, that's specifically those are words that we use and that are in correlation with the last podcast that we made before.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is in the first one we bring up
Dream.
Exactly, dream doping, right? And that's why we are making a correlation today with dreams versus goals.
Yeah.
And after that, we bring up a successful perspective, right? And in this one, it was about taking actions, creating a perceptions towards taking actions. And today, taking actions will come with the word goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Go for it, yeah.
Yeah. So we will just start and take a quick moment just to explain what's the difference between a dream and a goal.
Yeah.
Because you need to start there before taking all the other steps that we're going to explain. First, in my opinion, a dream is just an idea, a desire, something that is so big in your mind that you don't really have a plan to achieve it. While a goal is something that you have a plan with palpable steps that you're actually going to take actions to finally achieve that goal. So in my book, a dream is the big end goal, and goals is all smaller.
It's separate tasks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like the ladder, the steps of the ladders. These are the goals that gets you towards your dream.
Absolutely. The thing is, also dreams are what? The 0.1% of the population that will actually achieve their true dreams, right?
Yeah.
And that's those certain people that achieve them, to me, are people that are creating actions towards them. But the actions, like I said earlier, are actually steps by steps goals that are putting themselves towards the day. Let's say if you want to be a bodybuilder, you need to eat the right amount of food, right amount of protein, and go to the gym every day, or let's say 5 times a week. So those are small steps, goals that you need to put yourself through with a certain amount of discipline, right?
Yeah.
To achieve the final goal or final dreams, let's say, right?
And I think personally there's a certain type of people that can actually achieve their dreams. Because like the story that I always tell you when I was in secondary school, I don't know how in the States or whatever, how they call it, but in secondary school, the teacher asked everybody what was their dreams. You know? They asked what was their dreams, and I heard every one of them's dream. And when it came to me, I said that my dream was to be a multimillionaire, to have like businesses. At the time, I didn't know that I wanted to do trading. But when I talked about my dream, everyone stared at me with, like, you could see in their eyes, they didn't understand. Their dreams were like, I want to travel, I want to eat healthier, I want to, like, in my opinion, why dreams stay dreams is because of fear. Because you know what it takes to actually achieve them, so that's why you rather say that's my dream than to actually put it in an actionable step. Because once it's written and you have that plan, you actually have to take actions upon it.
Definitely.
Because once it stays a dream, then it's easy to say, oh, that's my dream. Well, okay, what are you going to do about it? In a lot of situations, they just don't do anything about it.
Yeah, or they just watch the dream of other people's to see their kind of amount of dopamine that they need to feel like they are actually living the life of someone else, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we bring up dream doping as the first podcast.
Yeah.
It's super simple. Well, I guess for me, at least in my brain, because we created the podcast together, and we kind of created a sequence of each podcast needs to follow up to bring up to a certain point.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. To me, dream doping was the beginning to understand. After that, like I said, with successful perspective, you create the perceptions and you take an amount of consciousness to understand that you need to working on yourself instead of just watching the dream doping, the story of someone else.
Yeah.
And if I can bring up an analogy that I said, I think in the first podcast or second one, it was about the movie.
Yeah.
You need to be the one creating the movie and not just the one that is watching someone else doing it. Like, cinema is fun.
Yeah.
But it's a lazy state of mind. You sit on your ass and you watch someone else make their dreams come true, right?
Yeah.
Plus, you put money in their pockets.
You give them money.
That's the, well, I don't know. It's a strange state of mind. We do not attack our own and do not take actions towards them because we are scared of failing, partly, I think. But it comes and goes. If you fell into some things, with the second podcast, we talked about perceptions. It's not about failing, it's about failing at something, but doing it in another way where you can learn instead.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just trying again, right?
And talking about distractions, because that's a big point that I think is made on purpose with today's society.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give a good example. Did you know that in the Roman Empire, like, a lot of years back, in the Roman empires, when they were losing the war, in the Colosseum, there was a show every day. So people could get distracted from the fact that they were losing the war. And that's how the Roman Empire fell. It's because they were distracting everybody instead of focusing on the problem. So you can't permit yourself to be distracted, okay? Because that's one big issue with society as a whole. Everyone is distracted.
Yeah.
No, everyone has TikTok brains now, and that's why it comes to the second point. Why do people stay stuck in the dreaming zone?
I think it's partly at fault because of the distraction that you just bring up, right? But at the same time, it's an amount of fear that you just don't want to put yourself in a state of discomfort, like we talked about also, right? It's just a scary state of mind that you just don't want to put your brain into a bad mental state.
Yeah.
And because of that, you're only putting yourself in comfort instead of discomfort, and you're not learning anything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You prefer to put yourself in a state of mind of where you're just comfortable, and you will just be able to make a day without thinking about more than what you actually want, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I guess it's fine to be that way if you just do not want more in your life.
Because there's a lot of people that's a big disclaimer that I like to do is because there's a lot of people that are actually fine with their situations.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, you see like a lot of influencers on Instagram nowadays that are like throwing shades at normal people, but we need people like that first of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
To run as a society as a whole, we need people like that. So if people are fine with their situation, well, I don't give a fuck. You know, it's fine. They're happy and I'm happy that they're happy. But I'm talking to the people that wants to achieve something because
Exactly.
I was there a few years ago since I'm a kid, basically.
Yeah.
Like I told you, the famous story, like I was watching people drive like Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I was like, what the fuck? They can spend $350,000 on a fucking car.
Yeah.
Like it was mind blowing to me since I was a kid. So this podcast is specifically for those type of people that, you know, they want to achieve something big. They are willing to put the effort, but they just don't know where to start or what to do because there's no like step-by-step plan. You know, you don't understand in your mind. It's not in the human nature that you want to fail. You don't want to fail. Everyone is scared of failure.
Absolutely.
So that's why we are always talking about the most important part is to work on yourself.
Definitely. And you need to be conscious about the fact that you want to work on yourself also.
Yeah. And don't put your standards too high on yourself. Don't expect to be perfect. Because if you expect to be perfect, then you're only gonna create problems in your mind, and you want to be in control of your mind at all time.
Yeah.
You need to understand that your mind is trying to first make you better,
Yeah.
and second to guide you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty much.
Also, I think we all have our little demons on our shoulders, right? And that demon is ourself. I mean, there is no scarier place than our own brain in a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Because we are the best people to deceive ourselves.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are the best people that deceive ourselves that we could do anything that we really want to if we really wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's a strange part. It's really about a conscious state of mind where you're working on a perspective with true perceptions. You let your senses away and you just think about what you're really trying to achieve. And what I'm doing as of right now, because I'm working on my business, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to. Every day when I wake up, I take my book down, right? Take a pen and I write down my goals, my daily goals, weekly goals, monthly and yearly.
Yeah.
Even though the yearly will be probably the same for the rest of the year, I'll write it down for the rest of the year.
Yeah, just to get back in alignment with your goal.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to understand what you need to work on towards the years to achieve a dream, let's say in a year or in 5 years.
Yeah.
It's fine to write down for 5 years your goals ahead, your steps ahead.
Yep.
It's all right. And I know for some people it may seem
silly.
maybe silly, to write down your goals every day, weekly, monthly, yearly, and daily. But to me, it helps me like program my brain.
Yep.
To work on the thing that I really need to work and put effort towards.
Because it's so easy to get distracted nowadays.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
especially with the phone, right?
yes.
I need to take phone calls every day for my business. But when you open your phone, you have Instagram, you have this, you have that, you have this, you have that, and you could trick your brain to just go on there instead of responding to the emails for your businesses, or just losing times on other types of shit.
Absolutely.
Or you just take a specific conscious state of mind and you know that when you open your phone, it's to answer to the emails and nothing else.
Because I think it's super important what you just said, to write down your goals. Because when you talk with people, you know, I don't want to say normal people, but people with the normal mindset, if I can say it that way, they can watch a motivational video and be super motivated for 5 minutes and go, yeah, I'm gonna change my whole life. And then they come at their house and they just do nothing. It's not, the motivational video is not gonna help you. You need to see it every day.
Yeah.
And to really deeply want to achieve it. That's a big part.
I mean, it's a great way to wire the brain.
Yep.
It's because it really is that you kind of need to be a psychopath about wanted to achieve your dreams so much that you're willing to make silly things to wire your own brain to think that there's never an options to fail.
There's not.
And if that's how you can bring your state of mind to at a certain point, to me, as of right now, that's my way of thinking.
Yep.
And it's a different way of thinking of, let's say, last year. Especially before I was talking with you, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I think having a partner like you helped me a lot to achieve way more in a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
Because we can speak about our goals together and dreams together, and it's also a way to push yourself towards bigger thing. Because when you're alone, it's easy to talk to yourself and lie to yourself.
Yep.
And just not do the walk, right?
Yeah.
You just do the talk, and talking is super fucking easy. Like, it is what it
You
is.
get the
Yeah.
dopamine even if you didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
But that's why I like to create an accountability system in a way, because like you just said, since we started, talking and being good friends, we developed super quickly, and that's another point. Like, for me personally, something that helped me the most in my trading is finding some good mentors.
Yeah.
These two mentors, they are the people that had the most impact on my life in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
I started, I found them at my birthday in September, and since then I've developed so quickly. Like, I'm always super grateful when I talk with them. I always say to them, you guys are the people that had the biggest change in my life. Like, the whole mindset shift and everything to actually understand what I needed to do to achieve what I wanted in my field. Well, that's part of them. So you need to find those people in your life. You need to find people that achieved what you want to achieve and look up to them. You need to try to connect with them in some ways because they made the mistake along the way. They did all the trials and errors. And you're just going to go and talk to them and they're going to help you. It's going to be like 10x where it would have taken you to. So that's why finding some good people in your life in your entourage, that's really important.
I think in a reason why people would not think about telling other people their dreams and their goals, right?
Yeah.
It's because a big amount of those people would think that their dreams is not achievable. And it can be scary to tell someone else their dreams or their goals if you're not even sure about yourself if you can achieve it, right?
Yeah.
Because you'll feel kind of small or stupid if you're not actually getting there.
Yeah. But that's not like we always say to each other. It's a lot better to keep your things private. In a way.
Yeah, but I think
because you don't want those external energies.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, you need that specific small circle of people that will not judge those dreams and goals that you're actually striving for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those small circles need to be people that are actually grinding as much or not more than you to push yourself towards them.
Yeah.
And I think it's a subject actually that we were gonna talk about in the podcast. It's about judgment.
Yeah.
And it's a scary, like it's a scary state of mind, especially with, well, Instagram and TikTok and
Yeah.
whatever
Everyone
the fuck
is
that we.
so easy to judge.
Exactly, yeah, and you can even judge them without them knowing about it, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of brings an error where you are not taking actions toward what you want to do because you're scared of
The judgments.
the judgments of others.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
How can you, and that's the worst thing about it. If you're not taking actions because of the
Judges. Fear of
the
judgment.
fear of judgments of others, right? Even though you don't even know if they are actually going to judge you.
Yeah.
Want to know something funny, actually?
Yeah.
If you go up front, okay, to let's say the biggest millionaire or billionaire in the city,
Yeah.
from where we lived, and you go tell them about your dreams and goals that you're actually chasing down at this moment, the possibility that this specific person is gonna laugh at you for chasing your dreams and goals
Is 0%.
is zero, man.
So don't ever let other people's opinion put you down.
Even though I know it can be scary at sometimes, and it's fine that it's scary, because if it's not scary and not fearful in a way, it's because you're not working, and
Yeah.
there's gonna be steps that you're not gonna like to achieve those things, and it's fine. It's supposed to be that way.
Exactly. And just to come back for a second to discipline, to get discipline without feeling overwhelmed is pretty much what we said in the other podcasts, but is to divide your goal into actionable steps, okay? And it's small wins, like you always say.
Yeah.
You take some small wins every day, and these are going to compound.
And I want to bring up, actually,
Yep.
it's just because it's an important, well, analogy or whatever, how we call it. Instead of seeing them as tasks, like I said in the last podcast, see them as wins.
Yep.
I just want to bring that up again because it's super important to, again, use your perceptions towards your goals.
Yep.
And it's just going to help you bring a better state of mind and mental state towards what you really want to achieve. It really is a cheat code, perceptions, to me.
Yep.
Honestly, some people will think that you're failing at this specific moment, even though in your brain you're actually winning because you're learning from specific moment that others can't see.
Yep.
And perception is exactly that.
Like, I don't know if it's a good comparison, but in my opinion, perception is like Aikido. You take the force of the other person and you just dodge it. You use the force to dodge the bullet in a way.
Yeah.
So like, you are in control of how you perceive things.
Yeah. Well, you create your own path in a certain way.
Yep.
And that's the beautiful part of it. Because and that's why I always bring conscious. Because if to begin with, you're not conscious about this specific moment that you need to think about, like, let's say 5 different ways that you could see the specific subject.
Yeah.
And you only see failure. Well, how are you going to choose where you're going to go?
Yeah. Your mind is
It's
going
not
to go.
fate. You're choosing with conscious where you need to put your, other steps.
Yeah.
Towards what you want.
And another thing that I find super important is self-confidence.
Yeah.
But self-confidence only comes because you actually put work, and you, like, that confidence comes with actions. The more actions you take towards your goal, the more self-confidence you're gonna be.
Yeah.
Because you actually do something. And that's why when that self-confidence comes, it's only gonna be with experience, but your mind is gonna propel you towards success. because your state of mind is super important. And if you feel confident about yourself, then your state of mind is going to be better. It's going to be good. So you can't self-sabotage your mind. You always need to try and stay positive. Regardless of anything that happens in your life, you always need to see deeply. You need to understand the second meaning behind it. Because there's no light without dark. The law of polarity. There is no light without dark. Like I would not appreciate being that healthy right now if I haven't been sick. It's the same thing with everything in life.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. No, it really is a matter of perception, consciousness, and destroying the fact that you're actually watching somebody else making their dreams and starting to create for yourself instead. And once you take actions and conscious actions towards the goals, and you can actually write down the goals every day, weekly, monthly, yearly, etc., like I said earlier, well, there really is no reason why you would fail.
Absolutely. And like we said, fear is a big factor. So that's why, again, I'm coming back to this, but the more you take actions, the more self-confidence you're going to develop. And the best investment you can make is in yourself.
Yeah.
The more you invest in yourself, the more it's like a upward spiral. Like I always say that expression, it's an upward spiral. The more you start taking actions, it's a game of momentum. Like we said in the other podcast, everything comes, it's a game of momentum. So the more small steps you take, the smallest the wins, and then it compounds, and then it make the boulders go. And then the self-confidence is going to come, then your mind is going to get right, and then you're just going to feel that momentum.
Yeah.
And you're going to be willing to actually invest in yourself, because that's the most important. But fear often is what holds people back to invest in yourself. They'd rather, go to McDonald's or just buy some shit that you don't need, buy video games instead of reading a book, instead of buying a course, something that is going to get you the knowledge to achieve your goals, to finally achieve your dreams.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
That's my thought process with it. We are gonna finish with this question. What actions can you take today to move forward? Just to finish, sum it up pretty quickly, all we just talked about, because that was a lot.
I think first one, like I said actually earlier, is gonna be conscious perceptions. It's gonna be the difference between goals and dreams, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be the dream.
Yeah.
You'll need to have one, and that's fine, or many, and that's okay. But you'll need to take goals and finish the goals to achieve the dreams.
Yeah.
And the goals will be things smaller than the dreams, right? That seems more possible inside of your own brain to achieve more easily, even though it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
Because they are big steps that you need to strive for and go through, and that are actually going to put your state of mind in a fearful or stressful state of mind, I guess.
Yeah.
But they will make you achieve the dreams, and that's what is important about it. And also, you need to sum it up as those goals. Even though you're missing one on the daily, you can still do it the day after. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. It's gonna compound at some moment as like those stressful daily tasks that you're missing out will be a normal state of mind for yourself at some point.
Yeah.
And it's fine to skip one, you just need to clear it at some point.
Okay.
It's not a race.
Me, I will go on a rant. I feel the mind blow. I'm in the flow right now, so I will. What I was thinking while you were talking. First, actionable steps.
Yeah.
You need, like you just said, you need to take small, You take your dream, you split it into goals that you can achieve, and to understand that it's only a game of momentum. Okay, so you take your small wins every day. They're gonna compound. You need your body and your mind is super important. So you need to protect that. So you need to protect your energy as well. Your energy is super important. Be careful with who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
That's another one.
And we spoke about it.
Yeah,
Energy
we
vampires,
spoke
right?
exactly. That's super important. Surround yourself with good people. Protect your energy, protect your mind, what you think. Try to always think towards your goal. Stop being distracted with everything around society. That's super important. Start maybe going to the gym if you don't go, because that's going to help you get a lot more energy. Be careful with the food that you eat.
Yeah.
Don't eat junk food, because that's going to make you feel like shit, and it's a lot easier to just not do anything. Okay? That's super important too. So first, just take small actions. They're gonna compound, and just try to change slowly but surely your whole life as a whole. Because if you take smaller actions but you actually stick to them, then procrastination is a lot less likely to occur. Because the more you try to do at the same time, if you try to change your whole life in, let's say, a week, it's not gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
Yeah.
You're gonna procrastinate because your mind is so overwhelmed. So you just start with a few things, and eventually you're gonna get into that upward spiral, and you're gonna feel unstoppable.
Definitely. Well, I would like to add up one thing actually, and that's another difference between goals and dreams.
Yep.
I think because dreams are like the 0.1% of what people think they can achieve, right?
Yep.
To me, a dream is something that you will be obsessed about.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you are actually obsessed about it, fucking take actions towards it, man. There will be nothing more beautiful in your life when you're gonna spend the amount of hours to work towards it, because the race for it is super important.
Absolutely.
And we have our own lane, our own pace, our own race, our own time. And that's fine. Just need to take actions towards it. And at some point,
stop taking in the judgments of others as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Stop sabotaging your own thoughts with.
It works with the analogy of race also.
Yep.
Because when you're racing, right, it could be F1 or anything, there's always going to be spectators.
Yep.
And if you fuck up a turn, well, spectators are gonna look at you and think about, oh shit, his race is finished, or...
But did you know what the term is important?
Yeah, go for
spectators.
It. Yeah, that's why I said spectators.
Yeah.
They
like
are...
you said first, you need to live your own movie.
Yeah.
And people are only spectators, so who gives a fuck about what they think?
Exactly, yeah.
Like you said, own pace.
Yeah, own pace, own race, man.
Stop comparing yourself. That's super easy, but super hard at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we live in a comparison world. Like if for example, you guys are going to the gym, then you're gonna know it more than anybody else. You see so many physiques on Instagram, so many juiced up people. They are juiced up over their heads. They take so much steroids, and then we compare ourselves with that.
Yeah.
Like what? How you think you're gonna achieve that? Well, that's the thing. Stop comparing yourselves. We all have our own journey.
Definitely.
Just enjoy it.
Also, I want to bring up one thing, because I know that's something that was kind of like, how can I say that? Changing my mental state of mind. Yep. I don't know if that's alright to say, but whatever. In the past, if I can say it like that, let's say we have like 60 blue circle, okay?
Yeah.
And those small circles could be 60 minutes for an hour. Let's say 2 of those circles turn out red. It's because those 2 minutes were not fun to me, like stressful, or it could be, I don't know, let's say I drop a fucking dumbbell on my feet and I'm hurt at that specific moment. Well, do not destroy or tint the other
Yeah.
58 blue circle for 2 specific moments.
Absolutely. Where attention goes, energy flows.
Exactly,
what you focus on, it just expands.
But this analogy can still be in correlation with judgment also, and the spectators that I thought about, that I talked about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because those people can be things that can turn your color reds, but you just need to, okay, that moment was not fun, put it aside, still continue to work on your shit.
Yeah.
And that's
Don't
fine.
self-sabotage.
Yeah, exactly.
You
You are the man, the
driver.
Yeah, you're the creator, you're the driver, and that's why I started the podcast with my small analogy, right?
Yeah.
Creating is more than dreaming, man.
Yeah.
Creating is really achieving.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is.
I think that sums
That's
up pretty.
a wrap, man.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Yeah. Nice one again.
Absolutely.